Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Rusteroids tutorial. Last week we added in a new visual effect to show the player wrapping around by displaying two of the player's sprite at the same time. This week we're going to be adding in a sound manager so we can play sounds, although we will only be adding one sound this week. As usual, let's check that we have the code from the previous tutorial running by running cargo run. And we should see this, a screen with the game so far, and when we wrap around the edge we should see two copies of the player's spaceship, to help visually explain that we're wrapping around on the screen. If you don't see this, then you can do git checkout tutorial 17 to get the code at that point. First, we need to add our new library to manage the playing of the sounds, so we navigate to cargo.toml. And the crate is called Kira. We will be using version 0.6.0. Then we will need to copy in our sound file. The first thing we do is create a folder called sounds. And inside this folder, we create another folder called fx. In here, we copy the file missile.og, which is the sound the missile will make when it is fired. Inside our source folder, we need to make a new file called soundmanager.rs. I will do another video on the workings of this, but for now we can simply copy the file from the repository. This will handle the loading and playing of the cached files in a similar way to how the texture manager works. Next up, we navigate to main.rs. And underneath the import of the texture manager module, we add pubmod sound manager. Then we scroll down to where we create our instance of the texture manager, and underneath the texture manager, we will create an instance of our sound manager. We will use let mute sound manager equals sound manager new. And underneath this, we will load our sounds to cache them, so we don't try to load them during gameplay. We do this by calling soundmanager.loadSound, passing a pointer to a string of soundsfx missile.og with toString on the end. Next up, we need to create a sound queue component, so we navigate to components.rs and navigate to the bottom of the file. First we call derive component. Then we create our struct called soundqueue. And it will have a single variable inside called filename of type string, which will be the path to the sound file. Then we navigate back to main.rs and scroll to where we register our ECS types. And we will register our new type of component soundqueue. Then we scroll down to the bottom of our main function to just above the call to the render function. Here we will grab a write storage reference to the ECS types of sound queue into a variable called queues. Then we will get a reference to the entities by calling gs.ecs.entities. Next we create a for loop to loop through the joined list of queues and entities, storing each one in a variable called queue and entity respectively. Then for each queue we call our sound manager object and call playSound, passing in the queue.filename toString. Then we call entities.delete, passing in the entity object, to make sure that we don't repeat the same sound queue on the next loop. We add .ok on the end to just get the result, although we aren't going to store it. So now we have our sound manager set up and it will play any sounds which are posted to the sound queues component we've registered. But we still need to actually insert a sound queue to make this work, so we will navigate to game.rs. And we will scroll down to our fire missile function. Underneath where we create the missile entity, every time we fire a missile, we create a new entity by calling ecs.createEntity. And then with, passing a new component sound queue with the file name variable set to soundsfx missile.og again, remembering to add toString on the end. And finally, .build to finalize the new entity. And we call cargo run. It will take a few moments the first time because it has to pull down the Kira crate. And then we should see the following. When we fire a missile, we should hear the sound being played. And there we have it. There's a new sound manager added in, which will allow us to play sounds when key events happen within the game. We only have one sound for now, but we will add more in a later tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave them down below. I really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to do so far. Please don't forget to subscribe to the video, hit the notifications button so that you get notified when the next video is up. For now though, I'll wish you a good day, hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.